Hello beautiful friends, I am so pleased to be here with you today to share a project with you for the Document December Stashbusting YouTube hop. This YouTube hop was initiated by the lovely Gwen, who owns the Cut to You cut store online, and she has brought together an amazing group of creative YouTubers to work on some Christmas or December documenting using their stash. Now, I'm sure I'm not alone in having quite a large stash of Christmas items or Christmas themed products, because there's always so much amazing new stuff coming out every year, and every year I tell myself, no, I don't need any more, and I inevitably always end up picking up something else. So what I do have is a really large stash of older Christmas products, and when Gwen invited me along to participate in this YouTube hop, I jumped right on it because I really want to make use of these older products so that I don't have to feel so guilty about bringing new products into my stash. So for this first share that I have today, I'm going to be documenting these three little photos of my daughter, and these were taken in 2016. I am using this cut file, which is a Cut to You cut file, and this is one of the two pieces that comes in the scallop ribbons cut file. And the stash that I am making use of here is my crepe paper Fa La La collection. This is a couple of years old now, I think possibly 2018, maybe even 2017. I didn't have a huge amount of products that I purchased from this collection. I've got my little 6x6 paper pad. I do have a few 12x12 papers, and I've got the chipboard sheet. So I'm going to see, I may not have enough just from this collection to pull a layout together, but I'll see how I go. I am going to bring in some stamping as well. I've already done some heat embossing off camera, and I have used a die through my Cuttlebug to just cut some little foliage pieces out of some gold glitter cardstock, which I will make use of. So as I mentioned, this is for a YouTube hop, and down in the description box below you will find the full list of incredible women who are participating in this hop. Honestly, it makes me feel a little bit starstruck to be sharing the creative space with some of my favourite scrapbooking YouTubers this month. But all the details are in the description box below. I strongly encourage you to go and check out those videos. It is a whole month of fantastic stash busting videos. But that's enough talking from me for the intro. Let's hop on fast forward and see this come together. Okay, so off camera I have gone ahead and backed this cut file with some patterned papers that I selected from the 6x6 paper pad, which I have from this collection. And I'm going to just use a plain white textured piece of cardstock. I'm not going to do a lot of mixed media, but I did want to add just a little bit of interest to it. So I am creating some splatters using some of these Lindy's Stamp Gang Magicals. I picked a gold color and I think it's called Karen's Coral is the corally color that I picked. I've got some swatches that I've made from these Lindy's Magicals, and I just used that holding up against the backed cut file to select the colors that I thought would match the layout, and I've just gone with those two. So just some rough splatters around. Now what you're seeing here is off camera I have used my sewing machine with some red thread, and I've just stitched down the sides. I haven't stitched all the way around because I am going to be adding some patterned paper to the tops and the bottom of this layout. So I just cut a strip from this Christmas tree paper and then cut it on the diagonal, so I had one piece to go up the top and one piece to go down the bottom. And on each of those Christmas tree pattern papers I have stitched around a border with some white thread. Then I had this pink and red candy stripe pattern paper that I wanted to have just peeking out at a slightly different angle from underneath each of those triangles of pattern paper up the top and the bottom. And I'm sure there is a much better way of doing this than the way that I have done it. It was quite fiddly, it was a little bit messy. Obviously with my Christmas tree paper on an angle, the 12-inch strip that I had cut from the candy cane paper wasn't quite long enough to reach all the way across. So I've had to make sure that one side was tucked right up underneath, and then the other side there's a little bit more showing on the other side of it. if that makes sense. Hopefully what I'm explaining along with what you're seeing makes some kind of sense. And then just trimming off the excess, and now I can get to work on my photo. So I had this idea of using this cut file as kind of like a shadow box frame, and I printed my photos sized so that I would be able to fit the 3 photos across, and then another little piece of pattern paper in between them, which is going to house my title. It's not a fancy title. This is just a chipboard piece that came from the chipboard sheet in this crepe paper fa la la collection, and it just says fa la 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 ho ho ho, and that's actually just going to be my title. So I would almost say this page doesn't really have a title, but if we have to choose one, this is going to be it. And then I also used some gold glitter heat embossing powder on these 3 tiny little wood veneer Christmas trees because I knew that I wanted to include those. The story is about decorating the tree. And so I've popped those up the top, and then I've spared you the pain of watching me trying to remove all the adhesive backing from behind that cut file. At the beginning of the video, you would have seen that I had layered up some foam behind it, and that's to give it the dimension and create that kind of like a shadow box look. So I have roughed up the edges of that Christmas tree pattern paper, and then I go ahead and adhere down all of my journaling strips. Now, this bit of embellishing I have made super duper speedy for you because, oh my good golly gosh, I don't know what happened, but this embellishing just took me forever. Considering how few embellishments actually end up on the page, it is ridiculous how long it took me. I think it took me about an hour to get everything down. What I'm doing is I'm creating one small little cluster down here on the left, one small cluster up the top right, and then I also create 2 little clusters at the bottom left and the top right of my photo strip in the middle. And what I'm adding to these, because I don't actually have any embellishments or ephemera from this collection other than what is in the chipboard sheet, which I have, I fussy cut out some of the little pictures from the 6x6 paper pad, which is what these trees are. I fussy cut out a couple of little birds, which are also printed on one of the pattern papers in the 6x6 paper pad. And I've cut down some of the cut apart sheets, which is what that top little deer tag is up the top. And then I have my gold glitter little bits of foliage, and I'm just sticking those in amongst each of the clusters. So like I said, I don't know why this took me so long. I think this is just one of those projects where I became a little bit obsessed with getting it perfect, and because it was quite simple, I really fussed and just fussed a lot over things, which you can see me doing here. But anyway, while that is playing, I just thought I would share with you this, as I mentioned in the introduction, this project is for the Stashbust YouTube hop, and I have already uploaded one video which is going live today, and that is my design team project for Cut to You. My original intention was to combine both of those things, to have my Cut to You design team project be part of the Stashbusting hop as well, but I got so excited about breaking into my Christmas scrapbooking supplies that I completely forgot about Stashbusting, and I went straight into the brand new crepe paper collection. So that's why you are getting 2 videos from me today, 2 projects, because I got so excited. I finished off my first one and then thought, uh-oh, I'm now going to have to create another one using something from my stash. And hey, look, I'm not complaining. It's another gorgeous Christmas layout. It's another story told, and I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, you're really just watching me fussing with these little clusters. One other thing I have added, which I don't think I've mentioned, is I created just some really simple little bows using a die and some plain white cardstock. I created 3 of those, but I think only 2 of them end up on the layout. So I'll have a third one just popped aside in my stash. I've actually got a couple of different bow dies, and for me, they are such a handy little die to have in my collection. I've got lots of different sizes. These ones are pretty teeny tiny. I think the actual bow itself is maybe 3/4 of an inch, and the trim that sits over the sides is maybe an inch wide. So they are really, well, maybe not even that big, but they're really tiny little bows, and they're so sweet. They've got a stitched border to them just to add that little bit of extra interest. And while I am creating these clusters, I am adding some little pops of dimension here and there, just so that all of my layers aren't sitting flat up against each other. And that's just using some really low profile foam dots that I have nearby, which I use when I want just some subtle dimension. So I think we've come to the end of the embellishment clusters. Thank goodness. Thank you for sticking with me if you are still here. And I did mention at the start of this video that I was going to do a little bit of stamping. My pre-stamped, pre-embossed stamped words didn't make it onto the layout, but I am using just a couple of little tiny detail stamps which came from some Felicity Jane stamp sets that I have, and I am using this star little motif with the Festive Berries Distress Oxide ink, and then I come in with just a teeny tiny little stamp which is just 3 little dots, and I use the Speckled Egg Distress Oxide for those. And that's it. There's no Nuvo drops on this layout because my little bits of stamping were enough. I didn't need to add anything else. So if you are still here, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for your support. If you have enjoyed this video, I would love for you to give me a like or leave me a comment and let me know what you think. It really does help me to grow my channel. And of course, now you have some close-up photos to take a look at. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.